Welcome to this week's episode of Real Women. Here I am standing in the most beautiful Being There Fair Trade coffee shop situated in 44 Stanley Street in Johannesburg. Beautiful coffee shop. You must just be able to smell the fragrances that I'm surrounded by. The infrastructure, the industrial design is just absolutely magnificent. On today's episode, I'm going to be taking you on a journey through the Being There coffee trade so you can understand for yourself, how do you choose the best coffee? How do you know if it's good coffee? And why do you want to choose the Being There coffee? This coffee is by far one of my favorite. You know by now that I love coffee. So I want to take you with me on this journey so you too can become part of this incredible experience. You know, for me, it's so important that it doesn't matter what we discuss here on Real Women, I always want to understand the history behind something. Why did something begin? Why did something start? Why was it established? So today I have the most beautiful Chandre here with me who's going to help us understand the history behind Being There. Welcome, Chandre.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here on the program. And what a beautiful coffee shop. What a beautiful brand. Tell us about it.
So thank you so much for having me today. To tell you a little bit about Being There, we started in 2005 in a garage. So we just have a really cool story about being able to grow from something from a garage to what we are now. In June this year, we'll be celebrating our 13th birthday.
Wow, 13 years.
Yeah.
You're a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've made it. They say in small businesses, if you make the sort of 10-year mark, then you kind of go doing well. So we're very excited about that. Thank you very much. And our company was started by our managing director, Jonathan Robinson. He did a lot of traveling with his wife, and he came across a business similar to what we are now, and he just got to see how they were doing things around coffee, how they were sourcing it, how they were selling it, kind of all the principles and practices that they were following, and he was just really attracted to it. Not only was he a coffee lover.
Yes.
And at that time, while he was traveling with his wife, he was doing, he was a barista in the different places in which they traveled. Right. But once he kind of got to see the way business could be done and the difference a business could make while serving and drinking amazing coffee.
Yes, do what you love.
Exactly. He decided, no, this is definitely what he wanted to do with his life. And so he, when they came back to South Africa after traveling in Canada, he started Being There Coffee.
Right, so that's how it all began.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. I've got to tell you, it is truly spectacular coffee. Now I know with Being There, something that's very important for your brand as a whole is the way you source the coffee. That is like a very, almost a pivotal point of your company.
Yes, absolutely. So I think to talk a little bit about that, and as I mentioned, there was a key difference in the business that Jonathan saw while he was doing his traveling, and that was around something called direct fair trade. What that means, because it's often a term that's maybe thrown around a lot,
yes,
and everyone's like, we fair trade this and fair trade that, but what it actually means is that you are trading fairly. So when you are sourcing a product from whoever it is, that you are getting a fair product and you are paying a fair price for that product.
Right.
And so the way our business model works is that we have direct relationships with the different farmers that we work with in East Africa. Ethiopia was the first country that we started sourcing our coffee from. And what we do is we have a relationship with all the smallholder farmers, or what we call cooperatives in the different countries.
Okay.
And we have a relationship with them so that we make sure the coffee that we are sourcing from them, they are then getting paid a fair price for the coffee.
Excellent.
So we believe that they're providing us with an amazing, incredible product, and so they should be paid fairly for that.
Absolutely.
And so, the pictures that you're going to see here and anywhere else in our roastery were all pictures that we have taken in the countries of origin, and we get to go there on a regular basis just to make sure that the practices that have been agreed upon are being followed. It's also a great opportunity for us to chat to the farmers and find out how they're doing. We have some great stories, success stories of different farmers who've really been able to change their lives because of fair trade. And so when we're talking about the sourcing of a model and sourcing of our coffee and the model, I really do believe that is something that's very unique to us as a roastery in South Africa. We don't just buy coffee with the fair trade label on it,
yes,
but we actually have that direct intentional relationship with our coffee farmers.
That is very unique, and it's so important for us as a consumer. Well, I know for me personally, Chandre, I find that whenever I go buy something, it doesn't actually matter what it is, whether it's coffee or clothing, whatever it might be, it is so important for me as a consumer to know that I am purchasing something that has been handled fairly. And you know, many times I think we can turn a blind eye to certain things just because we're getting it at a good price, and not necessarily understanding what has gone on behind the scenes to the person and people that are working behind the scenes to bring us that product. And if, as a consumer, for us to know that your brand, those coffee beans, everything about it has been handled with care, the people have been handled with care, the farmers have been handled with care, for every single step along your journey and along the process of us as the consumer finally getting that bean, we know it's all being done ethically. Chandre, I'm sure that with you working with the farmers and working with them intentionally and directly, you must have some amazing success stories. Do you have anyone that comes to mind?
Yes, we have a lot of different stories with the different farmers we've worked with, but I think the one that is really close to our hearts and a farmer who I had the opportunity of meeting last year is Agnes. And so she's one of our farmers in Kenya. And the success story is really around how she took hold of the opportunity of working with this fair trade model and with us, and just ran with it. So I think in many ways what our business is about giving people the opportunity to do what they want to do with their lives. Not for us being prescriptive or telling them what they have to do, but just paying fairly for their product, and they can make decisions about their own lives and what they want to do. And so with Agnes specifically, Jonathan met her when he did his first trip to Kenya, and he got to know her and her two children. And over the years, through the direct fair trade model, he's just seen her life transform, and I had the opportunity of seeing her life in a very different way last year when I was there. So she started off in a mud hut with no water, electricity, but through really taking ownership and running with farming well, and the fair trade benefits that have come with that, she's been able to build a house. Wow. She now has water, electricity. When we were there, we were taking photos on her iPhone and posting it on Facebook. She's one of the ones that always is liking our posts and commenting on our Facebook posts. Her children are grown now.
Wonderful.
And she's a leader within her community. So it's just it's such a privilege to have to walk a journey with someone and just see how they just really take ownership of their own lives and make a difference of it. And so when we were there last year, she had us in her home for a meal and just hosted us. Wonderful. And it was just great to just walk around and see. She's got some animals. She's growing some of her own stuff around her house. And she's now a leader and influencer in the community. She's a person that people come to for advice and help, and she really has a strong voice in the community. And so it's just been, it's just a privilege and just a really special story to share with you, because we've seen her come from where we met her in the early 2000s to now, almost 13 years later, and her life is just completely different because of fair trade.
And that's what you call genuine empowerment.
Exactly.
That's like a niche word that everyone's using nowadays, empowering women, empowering people. But that story with Agnes, that is genuine empowerment. And interestingly, Real Women is watched across Africa, including Kenya. Great. Hey, Agnes.
Hi, Agnes. We'll send you a message to let you know this is going to be on.
Yes, awesome. So I hope that Agnes is watching, and well done to you, Agnes. And how great to know that being there is making difference, not just in the enjoyment of people's experience with coffee, but genuine difference in the lives of people. And even if it's one life, Chandre.
Yes, it is.
It makes all the difference.
It's totally worth it,
So worth it. Chandre, I'm totally fascinated with the process of coffee from crop to cup. Can you explain that process to us?
Well, actually, we have a really amazing video that kind of explains the whole journey.
Okay.
So maybe we can have a look at that.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Come with us now as we go check out the whole process. You're going to love this. From crop to cup. Check this out. Chandre, I find that clip totally fascinating to see how the coffee is actually picked and grown and roasted and all those fancy words that you use. It's just the most amazing thing to see. Now, I find probably one of the most challenging things for me as a woman that loves coffee is how do I know what to choose? When you go to, you know what I'm talking about, you go to the shop and there's a selection of coffees, absolutely from one end to the other, all these different names and medium and dark and Chandre, it's confusing. For us who don't, I love coffee, but it still can be quite confusing, and I find myself quite educated in coffee. So how do we know as a consumer, how do we know how to choose the right coffee, the best coffee?
So one of the things that I always do when I go to a coffee shop is I ask them, oh, where is your coffee from?
Yes.
And I feel like the answer to that question gives you a great sense of how important coffee is to that specific cafe. And I'm not saying that they necessarily have to say, as much detail as like it's from the Pharaoh Cooperative in Sidamo in Ethiopia.
Sure.
They don't need to know that, that level of detail. But when they say to you something like, no, it just comes in a X color bag, or I'm not sure, or I think that gives you a sense of that coffee is not probably as important to them. But maybe when they can let you know which roaster have they gotten it from, and maybe even a little bit around the origin of where the coffee is from, that's starting to tell you that it's more important for them.
That's an easy tip and simple,
very
for
easy.
anyone to do.
Yeah, and secondly, I think a great thing to look at is their machine. Do they have a grinder? Are they grinding fresh coffee on site? And then the machine that they're using. So that's kind of an easy way to have a look at it. But if you're really not sure, that question always kind of gives me a very good indication of kind of where they see coffee in their restaurant or cafe.
And I think just a side note there before you go onto the consumer side, I think this is very important for you to note if you are a coffee shop owner, or if you have a company where coffee is important for you. Your company actually assists people and assists individuals and corporates with getting the right machines, choosing your coffee being the coffee brand of choice. So if you've been watching this program and you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I would love to have been there in my shop, or I'd love to have been there in my school cafeteria, wherever it might be, you actually assist with that.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So that it's very much also in our interest, because if you're using our coffee, we would want you to be able to make it the best way possible, so that you're enjoying it, your customers are enjoying it. So it's definitely in our interest to do that. And so we have our training center, which we are standing in now, and people might have gotten a little bit of a sense of our training center that we have, where we do wholesale training on site.
Excellent. There we go.
Or we can come and do it in your cafe or restaurant.
Brilliant. So that is available.
It is very
so now as the consumer, I'm staring at the shelf. How do I know?
So I think coffee is a little bit like wine. I think so. If you enjoy wine and are still kind of entering into the coffee world, it's similar principles. I do think price is, normally an indication of quality, as it is with most products that we buy off the shelf. So I definitely think look at the price comparisons between the different coffee companies. That's maybe going to give you a bit of a sense. And then I think in terms of the information that is available on the packaging around whether the coffee is Arabica or Robusta. So an Arabica coffee is what we would consider a higher quality coffee. If they're not mentioning it, it's most likely to have either a mix of Arabica and Robusta, or it's a Robusta coffee. So kind of look for the words 100% Arabica on the coffee. And a good coffee would normally also give you a little bit of a taste profile to it, and some information around where it's from. So if it's only giving you the name of the blend with not really any more information on that, I would say they probably don't have that information to share. But normally if a coffee company is giving you the sort of flavor profile, if it's telling you that it's 100% Arabica, and then if it's giving you some information around where the coffee is from, or just what type of coffees are in there, that's giving you an indication that for them it's important, and therefore they're communicating it with their consumers.
So read the label.
Exactly.
Read the information, see what it's all about, and when all else fails, choose Bean There, because I recently discovered that Bean There actually will deliver. You deliver.
Yes, we deliver. Yeah, so you can go onto our website and have a shop around.
Yes.
And if you make purchases of 300 Rand or more, we will deliver free to your door. As long as you are generally in a city and not somewhere in the Bundus, then there'll be maybe a little bit of a charge, but we'll still get the coffee to you. You don't have to worry about that.
One way or the other. And let's face it, if you have to pay a little bit of extra,
it's worth it, we promise. It'll be worth it. Freshly roasted coffee.
So worth it. Okay, so now I've been hearing about the coffee over and over and over. Let's go taste it.
Let's go.
Okay, so throughout this program, we've been hearing about this beautiful coffee, and now I get to have it in front of me. Oh, I so wish that you could be experiencing this with me. It's just magnificent. It's beautiful. Just the smell that I'm getting, the aroma is the correct terminology, I guess, is just magnificent. Now, we know, I don't know if you know this, but we know there are so many benefits to coffee. It's not just about enjoyment, but there's scientific benefits to drinking coffee.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a bit about them while I drink my coffee?
Sure. Yeah, so you're right. There are loads and loads of benefits. I think many people know about the kind of pick-me-up that coffee gives us because of caffeine. So that's probably the one that people know most about. But coffee is just filled with loads of nutrients and antioxidants.
Good
which are
coffee,
just,
right?
Yeah, good coffee.
Good coffee.
Which is really, really good for us. So they say no matter kind of where you look, if you just want to Google it and have a look, you're going to see there's just loads and loads of health benefits.
Yes.
And it's normally around having 3 to 4 cups a day. So obviously within moderation.
Of course.
Not 10, 20. It's not like the benefits get exponentially better if you have more and more coffee. But there are loads of benefits. I mean, some of the things, and it's a very preventative sort of benefit that it offers.
Yes.
Prevents against liver disease, helps prevent against liver cancer. There's been benefits around benefits against dementia,
Parkinson's, I heard.
Parkinson's.
Yes.
So it's almost like got a lot of sort of preventative, protective benefits for our everyday life.
Yes.
So I think coffee is not only delicious and amazing. I mean, there's been research that has proven that coffee makes you smarter.
Yes.
Coffee makes you happier. Coffee makes you able to burn more fat, able to exercise more. So, I mean, from the research, I think there's just tons and tons of benefits, you know. So pick whichever benefit you want to go with.
Stick with that.
And have your cup of coffee based on that benefit.
Absolutely. You know, there's quite a lot of people that, well, I've heard people saying coffee isn't that good for you. But I think it comes down to choosing the right brand.
Yes.
Choosing the proper coffee. If you're going to be drinking coffee that has been stripped with petroleum and all of that kind of nonsense, obviously it's not healthy. But if you're going to be drinking coffee the way that Bean There does it, from the crop to the cup, ethically, beautifully, every step of the process is taken so much care, and then by the time you get to actually drinking it, if I can almost say, you can taste the benefits. Besides the fact that it makes you, it just makes you happy.
Yeah,
it just makes you feel so good.
Exactly, and that is exactly what coffee does. And I think if you look at coffee, and I think again it's all about looking at the labels. So if you're looking, whether it's freshly ground coffee or instant coffee, look at the back of the label and you'll see how, to make sure that it is 100% sort of coffee that is in there, because some coffee products have a whole lot of additional things, and those are the things that they're probably referring to that makes them unhealthy. Also, if you're having 5 or 6 sugars in your coffee, and you those are probably the additional things that you're adding to it that maybe makes it unhealthy, but the coffee in itself is just good for you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, I love hearing about things that are beneficial for me.
and you can enjoy it.
And that I can enjoy it. And I don't have sugar with mine because I can't get the point of that. So it's just so beautiful. Thank you so much, Chandre, for just sharing this whole experience with us. I've really, really enjoyed it. So just finally tell our viewer, how can they get hold of your coffee?
Well, you can put our name into Google and we'll come up. So you can go onto the Bean There website and you can just put in our name in Google and you'll find us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. or you can give us a call on our office. It's 087 310 3100. That's our Joburg office, and then we can direct them if they're looking for our Cape Town premises.
And then you've got a few cafes around the country.
Yes, of course, those are the most important, and for me to forget. So we have our roastery here in 44 Stanley Avenue. We have a small cafe on the corner of Smith and Eendracht Streets in Braam, where we do all of our roasting. And then we have another roastery and cafe in 58 Wales Street in the CBD of Cape Town.
Excellent. So if you are in Joburg or if you're in Cape Town, you can go straight to the cafe.
Yes.
Or otherwise, you can just order online.
Yes,
How
we'll
simple.
deliver.
You will deliver.
Yes.
So there's no excuse. You can actually enjoy this coffee anywhere around the country. And I think if you're watching from outside of the country, just contact them anyway. I'm sure you'll make a way.
Yes, no, we make a way.
Yeah,
and we have for other customers outside of South Africa. So we'll make a way for you, no problem.
Well, thank you, Chandre. I've enjoyed every minute. Can we say cheers to our coffee? Thank you so much. I'll be back with you now. Wasn't that just the most amazing experience? I loved every single minute here, and I trust that you enjoyed it too. If you want to get any more information about being there, go straight onto our website. I'll put all the information up there for you, as well as onto our Facebook page and RWRL TV. Go there straight away. You can get the coffee. As you heard on the program from Chandre, this coffee is easily accessible. Doesn't matter where you live. They can get it right up to your doorstep. So come along with me, enjoy your cup of coffee, and stay tuned to Real Women as we continue showing you week by week the most interesting, fascinating things that our beautiful country has to offer. Till next week, I'll see you then.